Hi everyone, this is Savannah Tuttle, and this is my video on left hand position for violins and violas. So just get started, make sure you have a good position here. And first I want to talk about the spacing from the instrument to the hand. So obviously you want to rest the neck in between your thumb and your fingers. And the way you decide how much space you may need is gonna depend on the size of your hand and how tall or long or short your fingers are. So people with smaller hands and shorter fingers tend to have little to no space. And the reason for this is if they had more space, they're gonna have a tougher time reaching the back of the strings because their fingers are shorter. Whereas if they had less space, they're able to move to the back with much more ease. Now, if you had a bigger hand or longer fingers, if you have such little space, your hand is going to go right over the fingerboard, and it's going to be harder for you to reach the higher strings. So just play around with it and find what's comfortable for you, and most importantly, just make sure that you're able to reach all strings with as much comfortability and flexibility as possible. So once you find that, now we're going to focus on the wrist. And the wrist, we want to make sure that it's straight. And I don't mean straight like this, I mean straight like this. As if there's a ruler taped to your hand from the outside and on the inside. And there's just a straight line right from your wrist down to your elbow. So pretend we have those two rulers on each side. And if we bend it this way or this way, they're going to break. And we don't want that. So we want to make sure it's nice and straight. That way we're in tune. And again, there's more comfortability and flexibility. And so make sure that you have a straight line. You can check the mirror, or you can even tape a ruler to your arm yourself if you like. If that's what works for you and that's what you need, go ahead and do that. And once you're comfortable and you got it down, then we can move on to the finger shape. So the fingers, you want them to be round. And a way I think of it is make a C with your hand and then place your instrument there. So we have our C, and then place our instrument like normal. And we have the nice round C, and our fingers are round. And the reason we want them to be round instead of straight or locked like that is not only are we going to be out of tune, you're also going to have a much harder time moving around and changing notes, especially in a much faster paced piece. Because if they're locked in or they're straight, your fingers aren't relaxed at all. They're very tense, your hand is tense, and you're going to have a much harder time changing notes, especially quickly. So instead, we're going to make that nice C, and we're going to place our instrument right there, and we're going to make sure our fingers are nice and round, and you can move them freely on each string, just like that. So overall, find the space that's most comfortable for you. Make sure you have a straight line from your wrist to your elbow, and your fingers are round. And above all, make sure that you can move around comfortably and flexibly while also keeping a good position.